YouTube fam, let's see what going on. Maverick in the same space. Still the best and most credible. Still fear and fearless. And you see what going on. Urgent reasoning today. Before me get into my reasoning though, the Red Navy Jamaica Premier League Super Final, Friday, Labor Day, Estadio de Nacional, Mount Pleasant versus Cavalier. Game starts 7 o'clock on the third place playoff between Arnett Gardens and Montego Bay United at 4 o'clock. Make it a date and don't be late. Super Final. And it's not just football, it's going to be an event. We're going to get another reasoning now. You all see the reaction nationally to the horrendous beating of the nurse that we saw on the viral video. Everybody see it. Everybody think it gross. And that I'm just putting it mildly. Me I look on the reaction now. We see some protests. We see the nurse them a protest. We see the politician them out. We see, members of civil society are take to the streets in support of the nurses. And of course, the discussion are going to morph into a general discussion about gender-based violence. That was predictable. But really and truly, Jamaica does not have a nurse beating problem. We don't have a violence against nurses problem. I put it to you. We don't even have a gender-based violence issue. We don't have a violence against women per se issue. We don't have a violence against children specific issue. What Jamaica has is a violence problem. We have a violence problem. And as a result of us having high levels of violence, automatically all members of the society will become engulfed and affected by this issue, including men, women, children, nurses, doctors, teachers, farmers. So what we're doing is basically emotional gaslighting, When we think we can fix this problem by dividing the victim base. What we need is a united victim base, We don't need that people who are farmers, when they get killed and murdered and attacked, they feel that their life is worth any less, or they're being the victims is worth less than any other particular group. So this genderizing and this categorization of the violence in Jamaica, it is 1,000,000 times wrong. But guess what? It's politically correct when we say we must stop gender-based violence. How are we going to maintain the level of violence in Jamaica and stop gender-based violence or stop violence against nurses? So we are reason like some dunce. Like we don't know how to think we self out a wet paper bag. What we should be focusing on is to significantly reduce the level of violence in Jamaica. That's what we need to tackle, Not make it look like it is okay for men to die. It is okay for farmers to die. It is okay for bus conductors to die at the hands of violence. But it is not okay for nurses to be stamped upon. It is not okay for children to be attacked. None of them is okay. None of them is less okay than the other. We have to be more all-engulfing and all-encompassing in our thinking, people. We are being too myopic. Look here, this campaign would only make logical sense, if there was a disproportionate amount of nurses who are being attacked, a disproportionate amount of women who are being attacked, and a disproportionate amount of children who are being attacked. The vast, and it's not even small, the vast and massive majority of the victims of violence in this country. Amen. So this campaign would only make sense, people, and resonate properly and correctly, if women were being targeted, if nurses were being targeted, if children were being targeted. That is not the case. Make me face the uncomfortable truth, man. That is not the case. You see, because the Maverick is not a politician, we can talk the truth with a straight face, Politicians can lie to you. Advocates will lie to you. All of these people have to be disingenuous, Maverick not to be disingenuous. Maverick can talk the plain and straight truth. And the truth is, Jamaica does not have a violence against nurses problem. We don't have a violence against women problem. We don't have a violence against children problem. What we have is a violence problem, full fucking stop. So we must start think like mature, intelligent individuals and understand that the only way, the only credible and possible way to reduce the level of violence against nurses, children, women, is to reduce the level of violence generally. Right? So if we're killing 1,000 people every year, it is understandable that violence not discriminate like that, you know. The kind of violence that we are talking about, you know, discriminate like that, you know. If we are killing 1,000 people on average every year, it is understandable, say maybe off the top of my head, 100 of them are going to be women. Maybe 20 are going to be children. The perpetrators are men, of course. But also the majority of the victims are men. So to paint this picture to the rest of the world, like Jamaica down here, a target women, and a target children, and a target nurses, it is wrong. It is inaccurate. It is disingenuous. It is dishonest. So make we discuss the thing with some honest intelligence, man. We are oversimplify the issue at hand. We have a complex, deep-seated violence problem in Jamaica. It comes from history, how we resolve issues, how we resolve differences. It comes from politics, when the gun culture was introduced in our country. It comes from tribal history as African descendants. See? So we have a violence problem. It comes from with temperament, the kind of slaves that ended up in Jamaica. We have a deep-seated violence problem in Jamaica. And if we have a violence problem in Jamaica, violence automatically will touch everybody. Every gender, every race, every aspect of the population will be touched by violence. Now, as me say, it is political gaslighting when one of the minorities is touched by this violence. If we jump up and say we must stop violence against this particular little subset. It is bereft of thought. Unless we tackle the violence problem in Jamaica, the violence against women will not go away. The violence against children will not go away. The odd incident against nurses will not go away. You know what we should not focus on in that moment, yeah? You see the man will beat up the nurse and step by the nurse head. You know some can go to Jamaica court and get away for that though. First of all, he's a very connected person. We assume him have some resources. And then there's the issue in the law. With a videotape where everybody are watching and get excited over, you know. When we say excited, I mean get all emotional over, you know. That piece of video evidence might not be accepted as evidence, you know. Because we understand, say the person who shoot it with them phone, we assume, will have to go to court and testify and prove, say it is not edited or doctored, and it is the entire, you know, extent of the video that him shoot is presented in the course. One bag of rigmarole. So if them can't find the man who shoot that video there, a woman, if you go to court, go testify and defend the validity of the video, that all I want to see this, you know, can be thrown out, you know. And if the eyewitness not come forth and say what them see, you know, that man can say the nurse attack him with a bucket of water and him defend himself and get to a fight case, you know. And that if you go make sure that don't happen and stop the emotional gaslighting. Anyway, it's supposed to be a reason, but it ended up that the Maverick get a little bit hotter than the color. Because I expect better from well-thinking, intelligent Jamaicans. If you address issues of national importance with a little bit more sophistication and thought. Remember, Rain Every Jamaica Premier League, Super Final, Labor Day, National Stadium, 7 o'clock on the Grand Final, 4 o'clock on the third place player. See you there! Check in out, Maverick. Check in off.